Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, then please do not continue to listen until after you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea podcast. So for our final movie for Shark Month, we are covering The Shallows. But to start off the episode, what tea are you drinking, Jess?
I am drinking Tazo's Prickly Pear Cactus tea.
Interesting. That sounds good.
It's hot out, and this one's actually good hot or cold. So, just sweeten it just a little bit, and ice. Good stuff. It's delicious.
I'll have to try that. The name's kind of complicated, so if I mess it up, I'm sorry. But it's, I'm drinking, I made iced tea with a little bit of honey using the Good Earth Rosa de Jamaica. Good Earth Rosa de Jamaica tea. And
the Jamaica Red.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds tasty anyway.
It is very tasty. So I bought a instant iced tea maker, which if anyone can get their hands on one, oh my god, it's a game changer. You don't have to wait for hours on end for the freaking tea to cool. But anyways, like within 30 seconds, the tea was like cold and ready to drink. It was awesome. But I didn't put quite enough honey in it, and so it's pretty bitter, but it's got some flavor, so I really don't mind. But I know, like, Steven, he went to take a sip, and he's like, oh. He's like, why would you drink this? I'm like, it's tea! It's normal for it to be a little bit bitter. Like,
it's leaf juice. Most leaf juice is bitter. It's what we have honey for.
Yes. But anyways, so The Shallows, a very, would you say, I think it has an even more simple storyline than 47 Meters Down. So
I mean, yeah, but we did save one of our favorites for last for this Shark Month.
Yes, it is one of our favorites.
So
girl goes on a self-discovery trip because her mom passed away and she was in medical school and it really messed her up. And so she goes to the spot where her mom surfed whenever she found out she was pregnant. And she goes surfing. She finds a dead whale and then realizes there's a shark. She gets attacked by said shark. She then goes on a little piece of land or reef.
it's a rock.
Yeah, a rock. She goes on a rock because she can't make it to shore. She's too far away. And that's literally the whole movie, is her trying to figure out how to get back to shore or be rescued from the shark. But overall, okay, do you want me to do the entertainment scale first, or do you want to do it first?
Sure, yeah. Go for it, girl.
So for the entertainment scale for me, I would say a 7. And the reason being is the main character is actually smart and she's very calculated with everything she does. And due to her going to medical school, she knows how to treat her wound. Honestly, if anyone else had been attacked like she was and they weren't sure how to treat the wound, they would have died.
Oh, yeah. They would have bled out, for sure.
Yeah, but it's like not just how she treated the wound, but also how she ended up killing the shark. As funny as it is.
Yeah.
And
That scene, though.
and then the CG overall is, as old as this movie is now, still it holds up pretty well. It's better than 47 meters down uncaged. And honestly, in my opinion, it's better than 47 meters down. And those movies are even more recent than The Shallows.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly give it about a 7.5. Maybe almost an 8. Not quite, but almost. I really, really like this movie. The main character is not a complete and total idiot. She does make some good calls. She times the shark's circuit.
Yes.
When he's circling around. Like, she uses all of her resources available to her. She uses her wetsuit, like, 4 different ways.
Yeah, she's very calculated.
Yes, and very, very resourceful. I really like that. And, I mean, the shark was very unrealistic, but it's very entertaining.
Yes.
So, I mean, we were discussing the movie after we watched it, as we do, and just thinking about how we were going to judge it and all, like, we have to really nitpick this movie. And that's kind of rare, guys. Like, you should hear us after some of the movies that we watch, and during especially. We're just like ripping some of these movies to shreds. But this one, we have to like really fight to find stuff that's wrong with it.
Which is awesome. So I feel like everything else we have to mention just kind of moves us forward to the realism scale.
Yeah.
So for the realism scale, ooh, this is tough. I would probably say a 6. And the reason why I say that is I feel like everyone, all of the humans, acted very realistic. Like, they weren't too panicky, but they were obviously taking the situation seriously. And then the shark itself, as far as shark movies go, this is the most realistic shark. Not saying that the shark is realistic, but compared to all the other movies out there, it's definitely on the right.
It's great.
Yeah, it's definitely on the right track. What would you rate it?
I actually was going to give it a 6 as well. Like, it was pretty good. There were some small things here and there. Like I said, guys, we were having to really nitpick to find things that we would count off for. Because, I mean, no movie is 100%. Like...
Yeah.
No movie is 100%.
Like, the biggest issues is pretty much with the shark, because, like, the only mistakes that she really made is with the flare, where she was trying to get the attention of the boat, and the boat is obviously way too far away. Like, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't even try, because I would know.
No, I'd use it for protection, or to... just to hold on to and wait until I saw someone on the beach. Because there ain't no way in hell someone on the boat's gonna notice.
Yeah.
Especially after she drops them and they get all wet. No, they're not gonna work like they should now. At least for the time being, until they dry out. So, no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold on to those things and wait, and either use it as kind of a defense against the shark, which she did use a couple of them like that. Or signal someone on the beach, someone who you know is going to see it. Like, there's no way you're going to miss a flare.
Yeah.
From the buoy that you can see pretty clearly from the beach.
Yeah. But moving on to the most problematic parts of the movie that make it unrealistic, the shark was way too aggressive. She even makes note that the shark is partially attacking her because she intruded on its feeding ground, which doesn't...
Which they can be territorial. They can. But not... I feel like he was also eating them. So, I mean, he was eating way too much.
And for those who don't know, the whole reason, you know, the hierarchy of prey to predator, predators eat way less than prey animals do. And it's because they're every time they exert energy, they're not guaranteed to get that animal. And in fact, I don't know if this is true with sharks. I would assume so. But with lions, 8 out of their 10 attempts to kill something actually fail. And so that's why they reserve their energy and they only have bursts of motion when they're actually trying to get food. And sharks are very similar that way too. Like they just kind of calmly swim until they need to attack something.
And they're also very opportunistic. So she was more trouble to the shark than it was really worth, all the energy that it was spending. Especially when there was easy game right nearby the whale carcass.
Yeah. It's like free meal or hard to get meal. It's like I'm pretty sure the shark would go for the easy meal.
Yeah. And there weren't that many sharks. Like I feel like it would have drawn a carcass that size would have drawn more scavengers than just the birds and that one shark. There would have been more sharks and other scavengers picking at that corpse.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, normally it's like a feeding frenzy. Like every single predator and scavenger in the ocean comes.
Because it's such a waste otherwise. And again, just like you said, they don't like to waste an opportunity. They're going to take what they can get. And if it's an easier option for a meal, they're going to go for it.
Yeah. Less energy to exert for more energy gained.
Yeah.
And then whenever she goes to defend from the shark, she goes and swims in a group of jellyfish. Yeah. Saying, oh, the shark doesn't like the sting of jellyfish. So we looked this up. And this is not true. Jellyfish will not affect sharks. The article I was reading, they said that the only part of the shark that would be affected would be the eye. But since they have that eyelid to protect themselves whenever they go to bite on prey, their eye would more than likely be protected as well. So very, very unlikely. Probably would not work. The other part...
Even the jellyfish forest.
Yes. And then the other thing that was unrealistic is whenever she's on the buoy, the shark is literally like eating the metal and, well, not biting the metal and being able to rip it off.
Tearing it to shreds. Just destroying the buoy.
Yes. And whenever I looked it up, it was saying that it's very unlikely that a shark would be able to bend the metal, but even if it could, like if it bit down, their teeth are very different than ours. For those who don't know, I mean, sharks have rows of teeth to where every time they bite down, it's very common for them to lose teeth as they're eating. And so for a shark, I mean, this is flesh, so if a shark were to bite into metal, their teeth would be annihilated.
They would be in serious need of a dentist.
Just like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're constantly growing new teeth and all the rows of teeth are constantly shifting out and the old teeth are falling off. New teeth come in. So, I mean, they don't really worry about it too much, but that much force to bend the metal, he'd be losing quite a bit.
Yeah.
It would not be worth it. Again, too much energy expenditure for nothing.
Yeah, it's
not
like
worth it.
Yeah, it's like she's so tiny and like all of that work for just someone that isn't as meaty as a seal. A shark wouldn't go for that.
And once again, they don't generally eat humans. If they have a bite, they're like, ew, this isn't what I want. And they leave you alone.
Yeah.
They have a nibble. And they realize that you're not their preferred. And they leave.
Yeah. Yeah, like during the movie, we were talking about it to where, if we found ourselves in that situation, more than likely, like if the shark were to try and attack us and it knew we were going to fight, the shark would more than likely just then focus his attention on the whale. Or if we're able to get on top of the rock like she did, just wait, a good amount of time, let the shark focus on the whale and kind of forget that you exist, then you'll more than likely would be able to safely just swim to shore as long as you did it calmly and
just very slow and calm. More than anything,
strokes,
just
yeah.
let the current bring you in, the tide.
Mm-hmm.
Let the tide bring you into the shore more than anything. Just kind of float as much as you can and just very slowly and calmly kind of use your arms, because the bite on her leg was what hindered her the most.
Yeah.
It was a pretty bad wound. So you don't want to use the leg too much. You don't want to put too much strain on it. And also using your legs to kick is going to cause a lot of movement and flailing signals that sharks tend to hone in on. So,
though, do you think with her bleeding that could have been why the shark continued to be attracted to her? Because throughout, even when she was hanging from the buoy, it showed her bleeding still.
Yeah, it's definitely a factor. They do tend to prefer fresh over, stale.
Yeah.
Or, and she was clearly injured, so it probably thought she was mostly easy prey. But again, with all the work it kept having to go through, it's just not really worth it.
Yeah. Shall we talk about the end of the shark?
Well, before we get to the end of how she killed it, I do also want to point out a couple other things. Like, they said that the shark kind of avoided the rock area that she was on because of the coral that stings like jellyfish. Mm-hmm. Which, if a jellyfish isn't going to bother a shark, some sharks even eat jellyfish, then the coral's not really going to bother it too much. I mean, it's going to stay away from the rock because it's a rock.
It can't swim through a rock. It goes bump and it goes, ow.
And the shallow area is not going to be very good for its maneuverability.
Yeah.
So it's going to stay away from the rock because it's a freaking rock. So they didn't necessarily need that. Also, when she steps on the coral, right after being attacked by it, and they show, her being in pain and all, she stepped on white coral, which is dead. So not quite sure if it would really be able to sting her still or not. It would be very uncomfortable to step on coral. It's very hard and all. It feels almost like you're stepping on a rock. Like it hurts. It's uncomfortable. But I doubt it would have caused her as much pain as they were trying to make it out to be. We're just adding insult to injury. One after another for her, basically.
Yeah.
Because then she actually got stung by jellyfish.
Yeah.
So, just throwing that out there, guys.
Oh, and another thing to ruin the movie magic. It said she is in Mexico, and we looked up the beach. The beach is in Australia.
On the other side of the world.
And whenever you look at the video of that island, you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely where they filmed. I mean, it's a beautiful area.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I don't know why they had to have her in Mexico. Like, just say the mom went to Australia.
Yeah, because we're talking about, like, what if some people that are very familiar with Mexico and know the layout of, like, the beaches, like, is watching the movie and being like, hey, that's not Mexico. That's not any part of South America. These people are lying.
I want to know how many people just started, like, driving up and down the coast to try to find that area. Because it is gorgeous.
Yeah. Very pretty.
But it's not Mexico. So don't drive down there and expect to find this nice little beach area. This nice secluded kind of area. Yeah, no.
It doesn't exist.
On the other hemisphere.
Yeah. Yep.
Other side of the world, down a ways. But then, now we can talk about the shark death.
This is
the most hilarious part.
Yeah, like, honestly, the movie overall is pretty intense. Like, I was actually doing my trusty old, like, try and hide in my sleeve act. But because it is pretty intense, and there are quite a few times where it's building up like something's gonna happen, and then it leaves you hanging.
Because you don't necessarily know where it is. You can't always see it. The water where they're at is super clear, and it's gorgeous. But even then, you still can't always tell where it is.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying.
Yeah, but honestly, that's how to do a shark movie. It's like, don't build it up to have it pay off with something every single time. Mm-hmm. Though the jump scare in the beginning of the movie with the dolphins, definitely unnecessary.
Yeah, the only reason I can think of that they put it there was to have her kind of follow them a little ways and discover the whale carcass. But really, I mean, the noise from the birds and all, I feel like that would have attracted enough attention that, you know, if she just looked over and noticed that there was a whole huge flock of birds circling this area,
yeah,
she could have discovered it that way too. Like,
well, I guess,
yeah, the dolphins are pretty, but they weren't really necessary.
Well, okay, now that brings me to the one for sure dumb thing that she did. Like, flares, okay, if you're panicked and you're desperate, sure, whatever. But the absolute dumb thing she did was swim up to the corpse of a whale. Like, if you see a big floating thing in the water, you don't swim towards it, you swim away. You don't know if it's dead, you don't know if it's alive. If it's alive, oh my god, and if it's dead, shit. Like, either way, it's not good news. Yeah.
This is bad. Well, and once she got over kind of the wave area that she was in and saw it, like really saw it, you can tell it's not moving, and there's like wounds on the top and all.
Yeah.
It's dead. Which means things are coming to eat it. Which means leave. You should not be here.
Yeah.
This is a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I agree. That was the biggest stupid thing that she did in the movie.
Yeah, like, honestly, they could have kept the movie as is, but just have her be like, oh crap, I see what this is now, and then go to swim away, and then the shark. But
I just thought of another stupid thing that she did.
Oh?
She went to a secluded beach on her own, and no one, apart from the guy that drove her there, knew. And she told the guy that she would basically find her own way back.
Yeah.
So no one knew where she was, when to expect her, anything like that. Also, her friend is like one of the worst friends ever. Drank too much the night before, had a hangover, ditched her, so she didn't go to the beach with her like they were planning. And then we see a text from her friend while she's out surfing saying, I'm meeting up with the guy that we were talking to or whatever last night. Don't wait up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First, you stayed away because you said that everything was spinning. So you had like a massive hangover. Now you're going out to see this guy on your own again in a foreign country where you know no one.
Yeah.
This is how you get kidnapped. Also, we see where your priorities are.
Yep. But, shark death. So this is by far, like, overall, the movie isn't too bad, you know, besides what we've mentioned. Mm-hmm. But this part, this it could have killed the movie, but the rest of the movie is so good that it doesn't, thank goodness.
Not completely. I mean,
yeah.
It knocked it down a few points just because it's so ridiculous. It's hilarious. And we were laughing hysterically, especially the first time we saw it. Oh my god, we died the first time we saw it. It was great. And I was a little mad, honestly. Like, they were doing so good until then.
Yeah.
Guys, this scene.
Well, on the buoy, she rigs it to where she's holding on to the chain, and the chain drags her into the water, and the shark is chasing her to try and nom nom, and nom 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 nom, and like a few scenes before, you saw where the buoy was hooked up to, and you saw these metal bars poking up.
Rebar.
Yeah. So she gets pulled by the chain to this area, and right at the last second, she pulls away, and the shark slams in to that rock, and so it gets
Killed.
Yes, it gets shish kebabbed.
She, like, does a barrel roll out of the way at the last second. And it slams open mouth.
Yes.
Onto this massive pile of mess and rebar.
And then it just kind of ragdolls. It's just like immediate death. What I mean, of course, but you just the suddenness of it and how it happens.
What kills me is someone spent hours upon hours animating this. You know they had to have had fun with it. But at the same time, like, were you just done? Were you so tired of animating the shark all throughout this movie that you were like, you know what? F this shark in particular, I am done. This is how you die. And took out all your frustration on it.
Yeah, the death, like, the way that you can see the light from its eyes leave, and it just kind of, like, floats there.
Like, moves its eye one last time, almost like it's looking back at her like, oh damn, I missed.
Oh, yeah.
Great. It was completely unrealistic, but it was great.
Yep. But honestly, overall, like, Jaws, it kind of has to be my favorite shark movie, because it is the original shark movie. But The Shallows... The Shallows is definitely my second.
I kind of switch off between Jaws 2 and Shallows. I know we didn't review Jaws 2. We only have so many weeks in a month, guys. But I kind of switch off between the two. They're very, very close, and it sometimes depends on my mood.
I do really like Jaws 2 as well.
It was good. And that one had a ridiculous shark death, too. But...
I mean, all Jaws movies have ridiculous shark deaths. I mean, the first one, he freaking explodes, so...
Fair. But this one was really, really good. I definitely like it better than 47 Meters Down and 47 Meters Down Uncaged.
Yes.
This one was really good, and it's gorgeous. The location that they're in is beautiful.
Yeah, like, honestly, this is how you do a shark movie. Like, my only complaint is I wish they would have a more realistic shark movie with just as intelligent of a main character.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, they're, like, in this particular movie, just a few tweaks here and there, and they could have still had a more realistic shark movie. They didn't have to make it quite as aggressive. But it just, it's like just think out of the box. I don't know. I don't think it's that difficult, but
doing your research.
Yeah, but I guess, another thing too, though, to think about is if we had an even more realistic shark movie, like one that is down to the T, like this is what a shark would do, but then they have it directed towards a human, would that then be detrimental to how sharks are perceived? At least it's like the majority of movies, I'd say most people are like, oh yeah, that was totally unrealistic, and they don't really associate that movie with, oh, a real shark will act like that.
Yeah.
But if you have a realistic shark movie where a human is being attacked, that I could imagine would maybe affect people differently.
Probably. Though, guys, I will ask one thing of you. If you do see someone drowning in the water, when you get them to shore, if you'll actually do CPR, or if they start coughing up the water and all immediately, then maybe turn them onto their side. So when they cough up the water, it doesn't immediately go right back into their lungs. It's the guy that drove her there, the one that found her and dragged her out of the water onto the beach after the shark was dead. He just kind of hovered over her. Didn't even attempt CPR or anything. And when she finally started coughing up the water, he didn't try to help her, didn't try to turn her on her side or anything, turn her head at least, nothing.
This is fine.
Just stayed there hovering over her like a creeper. So
yeah,
maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was a good movie.
Yeah, this is, if you guys have not seen The Shallows yet, you really need to. We spoiled a lot of things, but there's a few jump scares that happen that is kind of hard to describe in a podcast, and frankly isn't necessary for us to go through each one. So I don't feel like we completely ruined the movie. So if you guys have not seen this movie, you absolutely should see it.
Well, and we've seen it multiple times by now.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this movie. It's starting to get to the point where, just like Jaws, around summertime, I want to watch this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's starting to get to that level of, this is almost a summertime classic kind of movie.
Yeah.
Not quite there, but it's right on the edge of that.
Yeah. And honestly, it was because of this movie that caused 47 Meters Down to come out, and they were essentially hitching on the bandwagon.
Yeah. They missed the mark a little bit.
Yep, they did.
But this one was great. Y'all need to go watch it. Tell us what you guys think about it. What would you have done in that situation? I probably would have died from blood loss.
Same.
I mean, I wouldn't have even thought to use the earrings as kind of a suture.
Oof.
And even if I had attempted it, I probably would have passed out, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Because that level of pain, I'm really impressed with her. Not gonna lie. Because that level of pain, and I know she had a lot of adrenaline and all going, but I'm really surprised she didn't either throw up or pass out or both.
Yeah.
That was... Ow.
And shout out to Steve the Seagull. Or
Yes. Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
As himself. He is credited in the movie, guys.
Oh my god. Oh.
So, it was awesome. It was great. Highly recommend it. Go watch it. Tell us what you guys thought about it. And what are y'all's favorite shark movies?
Yes.
There are others that we haven't seen or reviewed yet. So, what other shark movies do y'all like?
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to add, or?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. this is the last week of Shark Month, so we really appreciate you guys sticking with us. And let us know what other kinds of focus months you want us to do and things like that. Other ideas that you want to hear and you want us to do. And we will see you guys next time. Until then, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.